This weighs about 400 pounds. It's a chiropractor's nightmare, but I'm coming up with new tunes and stuff on it all the time. So, and the great thing is, whatever I come up with can transfer to guitar, or I can play, and Mark can play counterpart on it, you know. It's big, even for my eyes. And if anyone feels obnoxious and wants to shout out a question or an insult, please do. Because it keeps things moving along. I like it.
Who was your biggest influence on bass?
Too many. I started off as a kid listening to Free, Andy Fraser. Such a great player. He was so young but so smart. He knew where to not play, and he would bend notes, and that really hit me because most bass players don't bend notes, and that was a big influence. And then just about everyone else, I'd say John Wetton, who was with Uriah Heep and Big King Crimson, and Phil Lynott, you know, because he looked so cool. He's a badass player too. So many. The guy with the Faces, Ronnie Lane, was a killer player. Jimmy Lee from Slade. He's like probably one of my biggest influences. He's incredible. Cliff, we were friends. We did the tour and we'd sit and trade riffs. He was a great player. He was like an old soul on young shoulders. He really was. You know, and you know, it was cool. We played one show where the opening band had a bass solo, then Metallica had a bass solo, then we had a bass solo, and the three bass players were laughing, going, "You'll never see that again." There'll be a law against that. You know? Let me tell you, that other guy was really good and all. But there's a few players who play out of the box like that. I mean, I'd like to think I do. There's Billy Sheehan, of course. Cliff was definitely out the box.
Yes.
The guy, I don't know if he's on the tour, I mean on this cruise, Martin Anderson.
No, he's not. He just got back surgery.
He's an excellent player. He's really good.
And very humble.
Yeah, awesome player. Loved his stuff, yeah. Shame. Alright, there's the old lady, which I had a guitar made for me back in 1979, which was very posh and lovely, and we took it to a gig, and I went like that, up high, and when it went all the way up, it broke in mid-air without hitting anything. It was so well made. Came down, I beat the crap out of it, put it in the case, and took it to the guitar maker, and opened the case, and he went, "Ah!" I told him what happened. He believed me, which is even more amazing, and told him, "Build me a guitar that won't break." So he says, "I'll fix your wagon." So he built me this body out of plywood, which has been battered, beaten, and burned. It's been set on fire a couple of times, I think. And I got a cheap neck, and I got some good machines and a couple of good pickups, and then persuaded somebody to make me a tremolo arm, which I didn't know anyone had ever done, which they kind of hadn't. And when I got the tremolo arm, I wanted a pickup on the back, and the guy put a pickup on, but unbeknownst to me, it was a guitar pickup. So I plugged it in, and it sounded kind of like this. Where are we here? Ah, good, we're on the right. So, you know, you got your bass here. And it was, oh, there's no bottom end. It's kind of honky, as opposed to nice and round. He goes, oh, that's horrible. Hang on a minute. And I went, you know. Don't change that pickup. We'll keep that one. But this is about the 5th pickup I've had in that position, because since I'm a naughty boy and I throw the guitar around, they break. So this one's been in probably about 3 years at this point, so that's pretty good. And that's a 7-string guitar pickup because it's bigger and it fits the bass better. But still record with it, still love it, still does the job. Unfortunately, the way we travel, I take the necks off these two, and this one is always a nightmare to put back together, but it's behaving itself today. They are very passive. I'm not a huge fan of active. I mean, obviously this 7-string has got it, and as you could hear as well, I think it's got a little bit of a grounding issue with all the top end. I'm going to work on that. But I like to keep them passive, and then like let the amp and the pedals do all the work with that. Just keep it simple, you know. I'm basically an on-off guy as far as I can try to do on the guitar. Maybe fiddle with the volume occasionally, but don't like all that. If I do have an active, I'll probably bump the middle a little. That's about it. That there is a Harley Benton, which is kind of some budget line out of Germany, and it's incredibly cheap, money-wise. It's really well made. I mean, look at the wood.
Is that a deck room?
Oh yeah. And it also, if you get 4 legs, it doubles as a coffee table. Or an ironing board.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or a surfboard. So it's multifunctional. So, you know, I've had so many guitars, so many basses over the years, and it usually comes down to the ones I know will stand the punishment, like tools, you know. I'm definitely well attached to this and well attached to that, but I know they're tough and they'll do what they're supposed to do. So, and after a while, if you've got the really pretty ones, you just hang them up on the wall. It's like, well, what am I going to do with that? You know, so if there's not a real function for it, I'm not the greatest collector. I've had over the years maybe 15, 20 at one time, and I just went, I need to eat or I need to make space. So we'll ditch them and come back to the old favourites pretty much. But it's always good to mix it up, and I think that different guitars or different basses, they all have different songs in them. You'll pick up a guitar you've never played and something different will come out of it. So that's, that comes into play too. Yeah, right. Also, Tom from Sodom, but Tom told me deliberately, like, I bought that bass because I like your bass. Yeah. Kronos tried to tell me that his EB3 bass he bought directly from Andy Fraser from Free, but he didn't. I know that for a fact. It was a lovely bass and he destroyed it, which is a silly thing to do. But yeah, a lot of people think this is an Ibanez Destroyer bass, but it's not. It's a complete custom piece of nightmare with my $25 neck here. And there's a little piece of metal on the top, which came from my brother's first ever guitar. After he got a real guitar and took that one out into the back lane and smashed it all over the ground, I picked up this piece and thought, that might be useful sometime. And it holds the strings on.
What kind of neck is that?
Sumbro.
Is it a jazz?
It's a jazz.
Yeah.
You should
I've seen
know
that bass before.
Pardon?
I've seen that bass.
I think you have. Once or twice.
Once or twice.
I think you've been hit by it once or twice. I think I took your eye out there.
How many gigs has that bass been in?
Oh God, I've had this bass since 19... It's on the front cover of the first album.
Wow.
I just got it then. It was brand new then. So it's like August 1980. So I can't count, but that's like 40 years, isn't it? What's that? It does. It's strange. I mean, it just shows you that they talk about, oh, this wood and that wood. This is a piece of marine plywood. And I think after the years, it's just, the resonance just builds in, so that particular poke in the mid-range just comes out of the space every time. It's raw. Thank you. We're definitely going to beg off from this. That's better. When in doubt, just turn it up. Thank you, thank you. Any questions?
What strings do you use?
Oh, that's a good one. I use bare elastic bands. Most bass players have very heavy strings, like say a 45 or a 50 for the thinnest one, going down to maybe 130. My first string is a 25, which for the uninitiated is kind of like the middle string on a guitar, which is ridiculous. This thing here, top string on that's an 11, which is like the second string on a guitar. So I like them thin so I can bend them, but also it means I don't have to play quite so hard. When I was a kid, I'd play very hard and I'd break a lot of strings. And I realised if I put lighter strings on, if I played too hard, it would be like bandy and horrible, and I would have to play lighter to control it. And then I found out, you know, I can bend, which I can bend a lot. You know, like, where are we? And bends fourth, 5 frets, which can be useful. So, you know, it's all out of the box, and, you know, there's really no wrong approach. Whatever works for you. This is, I mean, I've been doing this a while, so my approach is totally wacky compared to a lot of people, but, I mean, look at, say, Joey DeMeo from Manowar. He has his strings all bunched together like they were a guitar, and that works for him. Go for it, you know. At the end of the day, it's all about the music. All about the music, and all about, for what we do, it's all about entertainment. We want to connect with the audience and have fun with them, and have a, you know, a feedback loop of energy, and, you know, just putting out good stuff and getting it back. And, you know, we've always said, even if we're playing like opening slots and it's places where we haven't been, our audience is a totally different audience, you go for that reaction, whether it's a great reaction or if they hate you, rile them up, make it worse. We used to play the clubs when we were kids. Our kind of our apprenticeship was playing the working men's clubs in the northeast of England.
Yes.
And you'd play half covers, half originals, and people would come up with beer mats and put requests on. So you'd be playing. Fuck off. Oh. You know, I don't. What key's that in? Can you play Over the Hills and Far Away? The Zeppelin song? No, I mean, fuck off. So you have to put up with that and just kind of work hard at getting the audience, getting them on your side. And it's something we've prided ourselves on for many, many years. And it's something I don't see with a lot of young bands. They do a record, they're incredible players. I mean, the technical ability is like off the charts. They play, you know, there's some kid sitting in his bedroom can play better than anyone on this cruise probably. But the other factors aren't there. There's no entertainment, there's no connection with the audience. They're just standing, just a bunch of widdly. And, you know, if somebody wants to play with themselves, they should do it in their bedroom. I guess where does that leave me? I've been playing with myself on stage all day. Oh, God! How are we doing here? Well, I would say we're about done, unless anyone's got questions.